everyone, welcome back. I'm really sorry if you can hear some very annoying music outside. My neighbors have just decided to have a party, but I have a rare free evening, so I wanted to come and do some I Ching. I'm gonna do a pick a card option for the I Ching. I haven't seen lots of people doing I Ching on YouTube. I think it's an amazing tool. I love it. I'm going to put in the description box below timestamps so you can go straight to the reading. I'm also going to put a Terence McKenna interview that I love. I love Terence McKenna, that a client reminded me of recently, and it's about Terence McKenna talking about time and the I Ching and synchronicity, and it's super interesting. Just if you want to do some research into it, if you don't know about it, it's basically an ancient divination technique. And I find it very, very helpful. And the book that I have was given to me by a really old friend. I've made lots of notes in it. It's my interpretations of it. Whenever I read the I Ching, I get a lot of psychic channeled messages coming through, and it's very good as advice-based divination. It's different to tarot. I might also pull a tarot card for each of the groups. Yeah, so that will all be timestamped below. But before I begin, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my subscribers. I know a couple of psychics that I've used that I really respect are following me. So big love to you guys if you're watching. Sheila is actually running something for empaths in order to kickstart their businesses. She's doing a special thing that starts on Monday. I'll maybe share that below as well. And big love to Peter if you're watching. I hope you got a chance to have a break and go with your kids and relax. So yes, big love to all my subscribers. If you're new, please do subscribe, and also hit the bell icon, because I'm planning to do a lot. I've had so many ideas today. When I was in my studio, I was making a sculpture because I'm an artist as well. But I had so many ideas for what I want to do. I'm going to do a special full moon kind of care package video. I think I'm going to release it on the 1st, but I might record it before. I'm going to have a new spell for new moon release. I'm going to also talk about a couple of different new moon release rituals that I tell clients about. I'm going to do a special tarot reading. I'll see what else I'm going to do. But one of the things that I want to do on this channel as well is talk about skills to develop sort of psychic abilities and stuff. And the client that I was talking about, who's very keen on the I Ching, who told me this Terence McKenna thing to look at, also sent me some herbs from America, some of which are very rare, and I have them here. And if you're watching, obviously confidentiality, I'm not going to say anyone's names, but yeah, I'm going to use the Osha bear root. This is Native American root used for smudging, so I'm going to use that today. I'm also drinking some of the Pau d'Arco as a tea, which is something that is to kind of give you clarity of mind. It cleanses the body. He also sent me some mugwort, and I'm very excited about the African dream bean, which the real name for that is Entada reedi or so. I can't pronounce it, but it's basically an African, it comes in these massive bean pods, and then you grind these dried pod pieces, and you make a tea, and then you drink that before you go to bed. And it gives you these vivid, lucid dreams. Because one of the things that I love is astral travel. I can astral travel. I do lots of lucid dream work. I'm kind of very into all of these things. So I'm planning to do that. I'm keeping it as a special thing to do on the next full moon. But I'll definitely come on here and talk about my experience with that afterwards. And then I'll talk about astral traveling. And I'm planning to also do some meditations, some free meditations for manifestation, because I really believe the best way to predict the future is to create the future. And I want to start empowering people, giving them access to these tools, and being guided to share some meditations. So there's just so many things I want to do. I'm really excited. While we're a small community at the moment, many of who are clients or psychics that I know, these readings can like key into quite a powerful collective energy because we're a small collective. So it is worth like subscribing and putting on the bell icon, because the energy in this group is quite small at the moment, so it means it can apply to us all, if that makes sense, because the bigger the group or the YouTube thing becomes, the more people, so the wider the messages. At the moment it's kind of small and specific. Many are people I've worked with, you know, either they've read for me or I've read for them, so it's a kind of nice little group at the moment. And I really welcome anyone's suggestions for topics they want to talk about, or specific readings they want. If they want like a love reading, pick a card readings, I'm open to everything, so please do comment. Or if you don't feel comfortable commenting publicly below, email me, because like you all have my email from the readings and stuff. So yeah, just wanted to say like so much love to everyone. I hope everyone's feeling good. I'm feeling actually great after the fortune spell that I did on the new moon. I'm feeling like really powerful, so I'd love to know if anyone else tried that, how they're getting on after that. But let's go ahead now. I'm just going to do a little meditation to like get into everyone's energy. I think what I'll do is, with the pick a card thing, it will be 1 or 2, so I'm clairaudient, so I can always hear, so you might already hear like 1 or 2 instantly. If not, let's use 2 crystals. So this will be pile 1 if you're attracted to this crystal, that's pile 1, and then pile 2, let's have this for pile 2. So pile 1 is this black tourmaline and pile 2 is the white moonstone. 1, 2, should really be the other way around. 1, 2, oh, but with the lighting it's better like that. So yeah, pick a pile, take a moment to think about it, and then go to the description box below and you'll find the timestamp to your reading. So, can you just give a temporary energetic field between me and the collective of people watching, so that I can deliver the right message for them today with the I Ching. Let their own intuition open up so that they can kind of get their own meanings and insights throughout this reading. Let everyone's creativity open up. Let's get a pooled kind of collective energy going, and key me into the people who picked pile 1 and also pile 2, so that I can give them clear messages and temporary chords, but wrap us all in protection while we do this process, and then at the end of the reading restore the auric fields and sever the cords. Thanks so much. I'm gonna light some of this bear root. I'm so excited because I said in my intro video, which I don't know if everyone read, I'm part Native American. I'm related to a very famous Chief Bushyhead. He was a Cherokee chief, and he led, no one wanted to lead his tribe along the Trail of Tears. Obviously he was opposed to it, but he offered to do it, and he was a great leader, really respected. He's one of the kind of guides that I have, and I'm really excited because I know this is a Native American. Oh, it's great. And also I have this Palo Santo, but it's like totally run out, so it's so nice to have something new to use to smudge. Thank you so much. Sending you loads of love. My wonderful client. Oh, sorry. Interruption. That's funny. I don't really believe in any kind of coincidences, so the fact that we got interrupted was kind of interesting. But yes, so much love to that client. Okay, right. Most disorganized YouTube tarot reader that ever was, but at least you guys know it's all real. Okay, right, let me just... Oh, this is the first time I've smelt this. It's so nice. So let's give the I Ching a good... Okay, right. Yes. Okay. So... you basically throw 3 identical coins to build up a hexagram. I'm going to timestamp this so that this bit, which is a bit boring, people don't have to watch, but I do like to do things in real life, live. So, this is for group 1. Okay, the message that pile 1, group 1 need to hear, please. Message for group 1. 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 So these guys got a changing line. So let me just look this up now. You can see this book is like well worn. So it's hexagram 41 changing to hexagram 9. I'm going to read a little bit from the book, but it's probably mainly going to be channeled messages that come through, but we'll see how it goes. Every reading is different. So group 1, this is your reading. Ooh, interesting. Decrease. So this is about sacrificing any kind of feelings or emotions you have that are kind of robbing you of your serenity. So I'll read the kind of first thing it says. Sacrifice feelings to which we are attached, such as desire, affection, repulsion, negation, alienation, or irritation for the good of the whole. So it's about like ridding yourself of self-importance. It's a kind of a call to have like an ego death, almost a kind of because even sometimes in terms of like spirituality, there can be like an ego attached to the spiritual path, right? And we can forget that we are dependent on the higher power, whatever that is for you. So the universe, source, God, the angels, whatever it is that is your kind of, you know, the higher power for you. But this hexagram is really all about like reminding people to stay humble, to stay grounded, and to also, if you're having a hard time with someone, and this is classic law of attraction, and I do believe in manifestation and law of attraction, and I'm going to talk about it on the channel. But this is almost like if you fix someone as a problem in your mind, you don't give them the potential to change their behavior towards you. You kind of entrap and imprison them. So it's a call to kind of sacrifice any grievances you have, which the I Ching calls sort of lawsuits. It's a call to really surrender. And this is interesting because this is the theme for the whole kind of care package I do for the full moon that I will release on the 1st or the day before that. You know, sometimes it's like surrender. We know surrender is a big thing, but how do you surrender? How do you let go? And sometimes visualization and ritual are really, really helpful. And that's what that whole thing is going to be about. So I recommend that this group watch that. So hit the bell icon so that you're notified. I'm also planning to sometimes do some live stuff. So like free live tarot readings. So do hit the bell. But I do think that kind of ritual package that I'm going to do on here specifically will be helpful for you guys. Let's see what else here. Yeah, so it says decrease refers to the moment where we realize that we're powerless to achieve our goals when we're forced into a seemingly impossible situation. And that's almost like, it's again this idea of surrender, of control. Sometimes the universe will it's like the tower moment, if you know tarot. It's like the universe will make things happen until you actually are forced to let go of that control through an external event. So you may be ignoring subtle signs that there needs to be a shift or a change, and then things will come in to intervene to ensure, you know, it's like you ignore the signs, you ignore the signs, you ignore the signs, and then you can't ignore them anymore. Oh, this is really nice. Oh, it's really nice. I'm trying all this stuff freshly on not on air, but live on YouTube. So anyway, oh, if you missed the intro, that's like a special herb given to me by a client. You probably don't know what I'm talking about. Pau d'Arco. It's for clarity of mind. But anyway, this group, you might be feeling a bit distracted. I'm getting psychically like really high energy and super distracted as I'm doing this reading. If you watch my readings and stuff a lot, you'll see the different moods I'm in when I do the readings. It's because I'm picking up on the energy. This group, I feel like you're super busy, you're kind of frantic, you're easily distracted, and you need to just calm, and you need to just allow whatever is happening to happen without feeling like you need to interfere and think of what can I do to shift and change this energy, if that makes sense. These are totally channeled messages, so I don't even know what I'm saying. Let's look in the book again. So yes. So recognizing that you're helpless also means that you perceive the impotence of the ego. So that's what I was just saying. And then we're able to see that we need help, and we have the humility to ask for help. So this is all about asking the universe. I ask the universe all the time, like, show me what I need to see, show me the way I need to go, what is it that's true for me, and I'll get signs. And it's about, you know, maybe you need to reconnect in with that higher power. Maybe you've been neglecting your meditation or something like this, but it's just a call to ask you to go back to that kind of reliance on this higher source, this higher energy. And also be careful what you're nourishing yourself with. I know a lot of the spiritual community are weirdly getting into some strange stuff at the moment, like QAnon for one. To me, that's clearly a pro-Trump conspiracy theory, and the only person who is actually benefiting from this is the Trump administration. It's like pretty out there, but it makes sense why people are getting sucked into it, because it's using spiritual language. It's using the fact that we all feel like we're slightly different, that we want to like help, that we want to be the people who see the truth. But that's also a bit of an ego thing, right? Which spiritual people can have. And so it's about really going back to like how you're nourishing yourself, the thoughts you think, the things you read, the things that you're getting into. You know, there's so many brilliant things, but there are also things that are kind of distractions. And I think anything that distracts and divides people and is polarizing is not really helpful, right? You want to stay with things that are light, or this is what resonates for me, things that are light, that make you feel good, and that are bringing unity. For me, that is the light. You know what I mean? So just be aware of like language that's used to try and draw you into something, perhaps. This is just coming through as a weird channel thing, just about how you're nourishing yourself, not only in terms of food, but ideas. And this idea of like going back to the original thing, you know, the original thing, the universe, the source, your own intuition, not relying too much on external things, even stuff like this. If it resonates for you though, it's because you kind of already knew it internally and intuitively yourself. So that's why it resonates, because you know it to be true. So you've got to use your own discernment. And we're going to talk about discernment, and we're going to talk about intuition, and we're going to talk about how you develop that stuff all here. And I want it to be collaborative. So please inundate me with ideas. And if you want to come on the channel and you're a spiritual person, I welcome it, you know? So this is also about here, it's about getting recognition for your point of view as well. It's like, it's again this idea of the ego. It's like you need to be recognized as being in the right for something perhaps, or you need to be recognized for what you're doing. And it's just a call to surrender any kind of external validation that you may need, and return to this kind of humble dependence on the higher power and your own inner intuition. You don't always need people to see what you're doing or to know what you're doing is right. The power of inner truth will shine out, and it will draw all who are meant to be connected to you without you having to do anything. So it's almost like a call to be a little more passive, and not pushing in certain ways. So there are a few things there, they'll resonate with different people. So this group got 2 lines, so I'm going to read the changing lines. The 3rd line. When 3 people journey together, their number decreases by 1. By giving up wrong elements in ourselves, we open the door for good elements to enter. We may be adhering to something other than the sage for guidance. I feel like this is about people who are like getting sucked into stuff that is in the guise of spirituality, which is actually not, and it's destructive. And I was getting that weird intuitive thing. I was thinking, am I going to talk about this today? And then I thought I will if it comes up, and I'm feeling like that's what this is about. It's like relying on a higher power, but not getting sucked into things that are in the guise of that, right? So here it says, we may be adhering to something other than the sage for guidance, such as a defective idea. Thus, 3 is a crowd. So, and then it can also be about when you've gone ahead without waiting to acquire the sage or the universe or higher powers' help. Here, a third person is our ego manifested as fear to contrived solutions to problems. So we need only let go and wait for help. It's this idea of surrender and how you're nourishing yourself again. So let's see what the other changing line is for you. Someone does indeed increase him. Our effort to follow the path of the good and beautiful will lead to success and the rescue to those whom we are tied by inner ties. I got the impression this was about another person for some people too, and this idea of like influence over them, and just realizing within yourself that you don't need to actively do anything in order for your presence to be felt. We do all have cords between us. I spoke about this in the first video. I have a cord with my twin flame. No one could get rid of it, but eventually I did manage to, when I really wanted it myself, someone managed to shift some of the energies for me. I tried for a really long time, and weirdly I didn't say in that video, but he had told me that years and years and years ago a witch had told him that he had someone with a cord in him that they couldn't get rid of. So it's interesting, he heard that before we'd ever met, and I was told the same thing when we had met, when I was trying to cut our cord. But there are always these cords between everyone. That's how I do my readings. I create temporary cords. So we are connected. We're all connected like mycelium fungus networks with mushrooms, and you just see the mushroom sprouting atop of the soil, but underneath the earth there is this filament of mycelium connecting all of these mushrooms, you know, bringing in Terence McKenna again, who's very into like mushroom spores. But we are all connected, we're interconnected. Our thoughts have a power and a weight to them, and our thoughts become things, and the ideas that we have and our internal intention can be felt by others. Think of water, it travels underground for miles before you might see it come out. So these internal changes are constantly going on. We're constantly having an influence. We're constantly shaping reality with our thoughts, and that's how spell work and manifestation works. You don't need to actively pressurize someone or need them to see what you're doing and acknowledge it for your presence to be felt. And sometimes silence is a powerful way of having an influence. So it's just, there's something there, there's a message there for someone who needs it, to let go of all of that. Okay, whew, that was quite intense channeling. Let's see what this changes to now. 9. I hope it makes sense for who it needs to make sense for. The taming power of the small. One more step in the process of correcting the situation has been completed. So how the I Ching works is, if you take the advice and the counsel of the first hexagram and those changing lines, your second hexagram is like the result of that in some cases, in this case. So it's saying here that we are actually having an influence, but our influence is weak because there are external things out of our control. I feel like this is for the group of people who are in a situation with someone and they want to have influence over that situation, or it could be a work thing. Anything where you want to have an influence, but you're kind of going about it in an ego-based way, but then you kind of relax that and surrender, and you're like, am I having an influence? Is all my good intention being felt? Is it going anywhere? And you need to understand that there is other stuff going on in this situation that is probably a cosmic thing that is holding you guys back, you know, especially on the twin flame journey, or just in several aspects in life. You'll find that you could have, like, I could have met my twin flame guy so many times. We were in the same circle of people, like multiple times. We went to the same university at different times. It's like fate kept us apart until we were meant to meet. And sometimes there are things that get put in your way because it's not the right time, okay? And there's something here going on with that. So here it says, the minister, by nature of his position, lacks the authority, the complete confidence of others, and the strength to subdue the strong elements. So he has like a restraining influence, but he doesn't have like a proper influence. So basically, in practical terms, it means that our influence is limited by our circumstances. So that's annoying, but then divine timing is a thing. Everything is kind of meant to happen at the time it's meant to happen. Maybe this group, you've got into some kind of weird stuff like spell work that is in a kind of, it's trying to force will, because you had that thing about will, and also like investing in wrong kind of stuff that was in the guise of spirituality is what I was getting. So maybe you've been indulging in some kind of like magic practices that are not that are kind of about forcing will. I always think of magic and spell work, it's like you're offering a kind of prayer to the universe, and it will answer it only if it's right, or if it's for everyone's highest good, or if it's going to happen anyway, it will speed it up. We can't really force our will on others, and the type of magic that involves is doing a lot of deals with entities, and it has a lot of like ripple effects that are not very good, and it will only work for a short amount of time because it's not meant to be. So we can only kind of speed things up or enrich certain things. Of course, we can manifest wealth and abundance for ourselves because we're all meant to have a certain level of abundance. You know, trees are full of leaves. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about specific intentional magic against someone which goes against their will and their free will. It's not going to totally work. So if that's like a message that resonates with you, cool. If not, you just need to know whatever the situation is that's giving you this, your ego is like triggered by it, and you want to like intervene and fix it and have a result and see measurable results in the real world. It's not the right time. Divine timing is at play. Trust it. Trust that is what is meant for you will come to you and cannot be denied from you, okay? And that we're here to experience, and your human experience is going to be enriched by every kind of thing that you encounter in your life and every person that you encounter in your life. So I just want to say that for anyone that needs to hear that. Anything else here? It says, people are beginning to understand our firmness of character and respect our way of life, but not enough to permanently correct how they behave. So again, it's this idea of this stream flowing underwater. We are having an influence, we just can't see it yet. Don't ruin the good influence you're having by feeling like, I must intervene and do something because I can't see that what I'm doing is having any effect. Trust in the process, trust in inner truth, trust in following the good within yourself. All you can ever do is follow the good within yourself and be true to yourself, and that will manifest in your outer experience, similar people, similar situations, the highest good for all involved, okay? And here it says, until relations are firmly and fundamentally corrected, we need to remain reserved and cautious. So if there is something that you're like, you are being cautious about, but you feel like you want to rush in and do something, this is really counseling you to be cautious, be measured, and make sure you're acting out of integrity. That's the overall message. There were lots of specific ones that might resonate for people, but that's the overall message. And not to be too ambition driven and like results driven, but to follow the process, trust in the process, trust in the journey, not the destination, and trust in everything that you're learning. I want to get, because it's quite tiring because it's so much channeling involved. So actually I'm just going to like cleanse a little bit to bring me back. And then I'm going to get a tarot card for this group as a kind of closing message for this situation, or just anything they need to hear before I go on to the second group. Right. Final message, please. Running out of space here on the lap. Final message for group 1. Anything they need to know here about this situation. Ace of Pentacles reversed. So there is something here to do with a new opportunity, something coming in the tangible world. It could be related to money or to your career. It could just be a new start with someone in the 3D, a tangible new start, someone offering you something tangible, but it's being delayed and it's like false starts. It's being kind of blocked. I think it's the universe. It's like it's not right at the moment for you, whatever this thing is, and you kind of need to like let go of the striving and hoping and wanting to contrive that and just trust that it's maybe not the right time. But there is the potential, because the reverse cards, there's always the element of the thing, right? It's just that it's kind of not quite right yet, and maybe it's not the right thing for you. Maybe it's what you want, but it's not for your highest good, and something better is going to come along. But there is something here with like a frustration of wanting to have this new beginning, either with someone or with a situation, maybe to do with finances. But maybe it's making you reevaluate, and maybe it's for the best. Okay, thank you very much, Group 1. Let me know how it resonates, and take care. Sending you a lot of love, severing any temporary energetic cord between us now, and wishing you all the best and surrounding you with beautiful healing pink light and love. Okay, so just gonna have some tea. Absolutely love that tea. Right, Group 2. So welcome, Group 2. We're going to do first of all an I Ching reading for you for what the message that you most need to hear, and then I'm going to probably pull tarot cards for you as well if I feel drawn to it. So let's see, what does Group 2 get me into Group 2's energy? What is it that they need to hear? What do Group 2 need to hear? What do Group 2 need to hear? Group 2. Group 2. Group 2. Okay, you guys have one changing line. So the I Ching, you basically throw coins, do a hexagram, and then if there's a changing line, it will change to another hexagram. So let's see what hexagrams you got. When I do this, I read sometimes from the book where I've like made notes. I know it quite well, but also I get a lot of channeled messages. So it could be a combination of both, or we'll see what happens. It's always like totally different. Okay, so first of all, hexagram 17. Following. Interesting. This is about following your values. It says here, follow one's values no matter how difficult this seems. And it's about following your sense of what is true within yourself. And being loyal and true to yourself. And it's also about like maybe being in a position where other people are following you. So you could be a leader in some aspect. You're kind of probably a spiritual person if you're one of my subscribers. Perhaps you are in a position where people look to you for guidance, and it's acknowledging that power and kind of using it for the good. Also acknowledging that before others can follow you, you must be following the highest good. So it's this kind of balance between the follower and the pupil and the student, the follower and the, what would we say? The followee? You know what I mean. This idea of like where there is a student, there is a tutor, and those roles can maybe switch, or it's just this idea of this kind of power and this knowledge and using it for the highest good. So, oh, that's interesting. I said the student thing. I mean, I know these hexagrams, but obviously I don't know everything word for word, but I always get these like channeled things and then it says the same thing. As students of universal truth, we are automatically servants of the higher power. As such, we are meant to obtain a following among others. Through following what is true and good in our own natures, we give others confidence to follow what is true and good in theirs. So it's about teaching through example rather than perhaps like interfering and telling people the best path. And so it's just a kind of reminder maybe to do that. Maybe there's someone in your life where it's frustrating for you because you feel like you want to show them the right way. You can see very clearly how they should be behaving, and it's kind of frustrating. But it's really counseling you that people will only learn the lesson through their own experience, you know, and we're here to learn and experience things to progress on our journey. We can't rush another's development. We cannot rush our own development. We're all where we're meant to be right now. So try to resist the urge of the ego to intervene in other people's affairs and just stay very focused on your own journey and your own truth and following what is true for you, and through that you will gently have this kind of persuasive power. If we think of the power of water, it's very gentle, yet it has the ability to wear down rocks in its path so that things can flow through. So, you know, we can have a great amount of power while still remaining kind of reserved and I was totally channeling, so that must be the end of the sentence. I'm like, what else? Tell me. And they're quiet. Sorry, because I hear stuff. Yes. So that's that message. Let's see what else comes through. Oh yeah, so here it says, even if it means that others fall into error by childishly attaching themselves to something else, we're still not meant to intervene. So I think this is for people who have someone in their life and they can see that they're maybe going down a path that they don't think is for their highest good, and they want to intervene, and perhaps they want to like tell them about all this spirituality, but people need to discover it themselves. And then we need to let people make mistakes, and part of loving someone is allowing them to make mistakes, but also allowing them to return to us. So we don't have to agree with how someone treats us or the way they behave, but we have to be open to the fact that they have the higher potential in them, and allow them to make mistakes, but equally allow them to return should they want to. Okay, so that's a strong message. Don't be afraid of leaving someone to go on their own path. Don't let the ego worry about what that means. Don't second guess it and assume that means that everything is then, you know, over between you guys. Giving space is a great form of giving love. And it's a very loving thing to allow people to be their own person and to follow their own truth. What is true for someone is true for someone. There's a tribe, a native tribe, maybe it's a Native American tribe, and they believed that every day they pulled the sun across the globe, and that if they didn't pull it, it wouldn't rise and there would be no sunlight. For them, that's their truth. And that is their truth. You know what I mean? We all have our own truth. We live in a kind of multiverse of truths and realities, and we shouldn't kind of intervene on anyone else's path to discovering their truth. Although saying that, I did go on a rant in part 1 about QAnon and how that's kind of dangerous, but I feel like, yeah. Sometimes it's hard not to intervene and want to tell people, hey, this is a scary cult, right? Or whatever. But try to lead by example. We are all, especially me, fallible to the ego and to wanting to intervene and help, but sometimes you have to wait for people to ask you for help. And as empaths, actually, this is an important thing, because I have found since starting up my Etsy and having clients actually come to me with their questions, it's so much better because I get a permission slip from the universe and I'm like, yep, if I'm allowed into their energy. It's never been a case so far that I've been denied access, but it's like, yep, go in, tell them what they need to hear. Before I was doing that, I was constantly having psychic messages about friends, my twin, all sorts of people. And it was actually quite annoying because they probably didn't want to know. And I was put in a position where I was like, why do I want to tell them this thing? So it's about like maybe just giving information when you're actually asked for your opinion. And then if not, let people live their own way. And they will come to their own version of reality and truth through that. And if they need and want your guidance, they will come to you and allow them to. So that's a strong message. What else? We fear that others will not understand us and will become isolated, or will lose our chance to influence a situation for the better. We're taught by Western culture that to achieve our goals, we must contrive or force them to happen. This is pile 1 had a similar message. It's about this idea of like having to force something into being, but you need to trust that you have this inner power, which is how spells and manifestation work, to shift and change things around you. But it's only if it's like in divine timing, or if it's like meant to be. We can't totally force our way into having whatever we want, but we can certainly offer up a kind of prayer to the universe via a spell or manifestation to aid in that. But also it's about this power of inner truth, and that being the thing that has force. And so we don't always have to tell people, we don't always have to contrive or intervene. We can just believe and know something to be true and trust that that will affect the outside world and it will ripple, you know? Law of attraction, we're going to get into all of that on this channel. What else is coming through? It's about not becoming impatient. It's about disengaging from your emotions and not becoming emotionally entangled in a situation. And also it warns against kind of basking in the progress that you might make in a situation, and then not being humble and knowing that it's kind of like, if something goes well or something goes badly, treat it the same. It's all an experience, you know? And luck changes and everything changes and shifts, and good things come and go and bad things come and go. Everything comes and goes. It's all a cycle, and just kind of accepting and letting all of those emotions just move through you, and know that they're just part of this experience that we're having, that we chose to have when we decided to come here and incarnate at this exact time. It's all a higher kind of purpose, but of course we have free will, and we can choose to accept and go with it, or we can choose to fight against it, or we can choose to change and shape our reality to have a little bit of a better experience, or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, you know, we are also not totally all-powerful, omnipotent beings, you know? So yeah, that's that message. What changing line? You've got one changing line. Oh, this is about clinging to a childish part of yourself. So you guys might want to do some like inner child healing. I know it's very trendy, but I am actually like quite big on that, and I often like recommend inner child healing meditations to clients. But it's very important to have a good relationship with your inner child, so it doesn't start to kind of act up if you've kind of ignored it. Like, you have to think of this little child-like version inside yourself that maybe sometimes is asking for something, and if you ignore it, it will act out, and you may behave in a very strange way because of that, or whatever. But here it's just saying, oh my god, crazy. I don't even need to read the book. I get the channeled messages. So here it says, the little boy represents the childish part of ourselves. When we listen to its wants, dissatisfactions and impatience, we lose our strong and persevering self. The small boy can be conveniently hostile view of a situation, or a compulsive energy that drives us to contending and contriving and to using leverage. And that if we don't listen, then the little boy will act when he's taught not to act. So it's about like you ignore the first call, the first kind of, you just try and ignore it, and then it acts out. So it's about having this good relationship with your inner child. It's about also not letting your emotions overwhelm you. I recommend meditation for this group, to see your thoughts as these things that are just separate to your reality. You know, you think something, but it's not necessarily the truth of a situation. It's just your ego mind's perception of reality. So this is really, I think you guys would benefit from meditation and some inner child meditation, to listen to what it is your inner child is trying to tell you before it starts screaming out at you about what it is that it's annoyed by or whatever it needs and wants. And you can just sit with your inner child and say, I love you, I'm here for you, I will never leave you. Whatever it is that comes up, maybe there's abandonment that comes up, maybe there's a feeling of not being good enough, not being listened to. Often our fears are just wanting us to acknowledge and listen to them, and through doing that we shift that energy. Emotion is just energy in motion, and all you need to do is kind of acknowledge it in your body. How do you feel it? Where do you feel it? What does it bring up? What does it bring up from the past? Acknowledge it and sit with it and say, I hear you, I'm here for you, and it will shift. A healer friend of mine who I've been seeing for years and years taught me that. I want to get her on the channel, she's great. And I do a lot with all my manifestation packages, I always go first of all with a tarot reading, and I look into what the limiting beliefs are, what the fears are, and then we can use those to free people. Because with your greatest fears and all your limiting beliefs, they hold the potential for massive shifts and changes in your life. So don't be afraid of anything that comes up. It's gold, it's alchemy. You use the dark stuff, the dark, scary stuff that you don't want to think about. But it's like, it's dark and scary. You shine a light on it, it dissipates. It's a shadow. It's you know, it's not real. Shine the light on it and it goes. And it's like, it's the way, it's the kind of the light through the path to your greatest discovery. It's so, I'm getting like clairvoyant images now of a maze and like a light being shone through the maze, and it's like you don't know where you're going, you can only see a little bit right in front of you in the maze, but you follow this light trusting that you know you'll get to your destination. Or it's like if you drive a car and you have the headlights on, you can only see so far ahead, but you trust that you keep going incrementally and you get to your destination. So this is about trusting in a higher kind of force in your life, and trusting yourself, I feel, is coming up for some of you, and listening to those dark fears. And if it's really scary, good. I mean, it's then going to be like a massive shift and transformation that's going to come. And if you need someone to help hold space for you through that process, this is something I love. Shadow work, it's my thing. I've gone to the depths of all sorts of things. You know, all healers, all psychics, we all have to have experienced all the stuff we're helping our clients with. We've all been heartbroken. We've all been obsessive. We've all had addictions. I mean, not substance addictions, but I've been addicted to love because I needed love. You know, I needed validation. We've all had these things, I think, most of us. It gives us the experience to help other people. But I love all the kind of shadow stuff that comes up, inner child stuff. It's very exciting to me. It contains your greatest potential. So yeah, just putting it out there. But some of the people who are watching this will have already done my manifestation stuff, I feel, but it's very powerful. And I'll try and do some free stuff on this channel to do with shadow work, but it's just a little bit irresponsible because shadow work is very deep. And it's like obviously not something that you can do for a big collective group of people because it's very personal. So I don't know how much I'll be able to do, but I'll definitely be able to do some manifestation stuff. But I do it like personal one-on-one stuff if people need that. So yeah. Oh, tarot card? Yeah, tarot card for this group. Okay. Did I do the changing line? No. Oh, sorry. Changing line 58. You guys had my long rant in the middle. I'm so sorry. This is just gonna have to be my style though. I can't change how I am. I'm sorry. I'm very happy with it too. I don't want to change. Okay, the joyous. This is interesting. So this is about the difference between true freedom and detachment and just acting as if you are. And it's about here it says, the image of a placid, unruffled surface of a lake symbolizes true joy as serenity that arises from the sublime source. Even the slightest wrinkle of the brow, like a ripple on the lake, indicates the presence of an emotion that, if it is allowed to continue, will cause the turmoil in which true joy disappears. So this is like what I was saying about the inner child. It's like there's something brewing with you guys. There's something brewing, and you need to acknowledge it, and you need to act and to nurture and to shift before it overwhelms. I feel like it, and here it says, the first moment of wavering is often only a vague, discontented mood, and then we start to want to interfere and blah, 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 blah. And here it says, the chief sign of one who feels hopeless is his striving to force happiness or success. So there's something here, I feel, with another person going on, and appearances and wanting to project a certain way or certain view of yourself and not being true to yourself, I feel. Here it says, neither true joy nor true pleasure can be found from pursuing joy, pleasure, or success in things in themselves. And this is what I say with manifestation all the time too. It's like when people say, oh, I want to manifest this guy back. I'm like, are you sure? Or do you want to manifest like soulmate love, or someone who's going to love you the best way you've ever been loved? It's like, don't get attached to the thing. It's the feeling you want. So you might not want actually like to have £10,000. You might want the feeling of having direction in your life, being valued, being secure, having security, having enough that you don't feel like you're always needing more. You might not want the Porsche. You might actually want like the feeling of achievement, security, stability in your life. So it's like, don't get attached to the thing. You could buy a super fancy car that you think you've always wanted, and then you'll be like, God, I wish I had that old car back where I had all the happy memories with like my kids. I don't know why I'm getting that's like a really specific thing. But it's like, don't get attached to some kind of specific outcome, or don't pursue like, oh, I just want to have loads of fun. I don't know. It's something about like a superficiality here, and not understanding what true happiness comes from, or what true happiness is to you. I feel like a lot of people who are watching this will know that because you guys are spiritual, but it's a good thing to always remember anyhow for all of us. Or perhaps, you know, for anyone who comes across this video, it's like, where does this, it's the feeling of happiness we want, not the thing. It's the feeling of love we want, not a specific person. And we can key ourselves into universal love, which is like the best drug ever, without anyone else being involved. So this is just about aligning yourself with what is truly going to nourish you and make you happy, and reminding yourself of that. And it says here, the basis for true joy is inner independence. It's so true. I feel so free and happy at the moment, and that's not dependent on anyone else. And that's where I want all my clients to get to, who come to me and ask me about specific people. I'm like, let's just get you to a place where you're like so happy in yourself. There's nothing like it. It's like untouchable. You are so solid. It's amazing. It's so good. And that's where we all want to get to, this idea of feeling like this calm lake that cannot be ruffled, right? It's like nothing external to us is going to dictate our happiness. Our happiness and joy comes from within. It comes from our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to the higher power, our relationship to everyone we see in the street. We can have beautiful encounters with kids that walk past us in the street, with people in the shop, with neighbors, with friends. It's not dependent on a specific person. It's not labeling a specific relationship. It's not what society tells us we're meant to be doing, like getting married, or, you know, whatever it is. It's about this like seeing beauty and love in every connection, and not putting one above another on some kind of hierarchy. This is such a long video. Whenever I do the I Ching, it's crazy amounts of channeled messages come through. It's always so much longer than I think it's going to be. I have to always keep changing the price on Etsy, because it's like it started really cheap, because I'm like, oh, how can I charge someone? It's just like reading from a book, but I never really look at the book. It's like all channeled stuff. Anyway, Sorry for the long video. I hope it's helpful for whoever it's meant to resonate for. It's not like a snappy pick a card reading, but hopefully there's important messages there. Anything else? I've underlined this in this book. Can you see? Where is it? Here. I've actually, oh God, I'm never going to get used to this. Well, anyway, I've underlined somewhere in this book. Never mind. I've underlined in the book a very specific part of this, which is very, very important, and it's a good message for all of us to remember. I'm going to read it out to us. Two people attain true joy only when both are sincere in trying to keep correct within themselves. Their independent searches for the truth within themselves serve as inexhaustible wellsprings, supporting each other and nourishing everyone around them. So that is really about happiness coming from within. And if you're in a kind of romantic connection, or you're thinking of someone and it's like this idea of like, oh, this person's doing this and that, so I'm not happy. It's like, no, take back the power. You're responsible for your happiness. They're responsible for their happiness. Think of yourselves like two trees. You need space apart in order to grow. Otherwise you'll block out each other's light and you'll both wither and die. So you need space. You need to be supportive, like to support yourself before you can support someone else. Love is space. That's the message that's coming through. I think it came through in the first one. Maybe it was this one. I honestly can't remember when I do these things. So yeah, that's that. I feel like the client who gave me the herbs and told me about the Terence McKenna thing got both those hexagrams when I gave him his I Ching. If you're watching, tell me, because that's super weird if so. And it's just like a nice thing from source, like to say hi. I feel like it definitely, I might send you the video if in case you don't watch it, even though I told you, because like I'm pretty sure. Let's get a tarot card for group 2 as a final message. How many? Okay, well, oh, so many. I'll just take them though. Right. I'm going to do this quickly. Meditate, rest, connect back into source. There might be a temporary break in some kind of romantic home situation with someone. But do meditate, spend some time at home, spend some time with loved ones, spend some time getting back to the basics of what makes you happy. If you are in a kind of, you know, there was this thing about this superficiality and pursuing joy as like a thing of its, pursuing joy as a means for happiness. The 9 of Cups for me is always that card of someone like a little bit drunk and just trying to have a really good time and block things out and party. I know it has like wishes coming true and stuff, but in this deck, which is the one I use, he just looks totally drunk. And like, for me, it's that idea of like maybe substance abuse or like partying or just pursuing pleasure in some way. And there's something addictive again, and this could be to do with substance abuse with the Devil card. There's some kind of addictive energy which is having an influence over an otherwise happy and stable situation for you, and you're just being counseled to go back to that kind of place of peace and quiet within, and not get caught up in external kind of like fun, addictive or seductive stuff that is around you. Perhaps you have like a lifestyle where you're surrounded by some superficial people or a lot of partying, or it's going to be different for everyone, but it's really counseling you to focus on home, meditation, and a relationship with like higher powers. Also, I've got to put it out there because I am going to talk about twin flames on this channel. These 2 cards for me, no. Oh my god. These 2 cards for me really symbolize the whole twin flame thing, because we've got, oh my god, I've got to like turn off my screen. It'll make it easier for me, but then I can't tell if I'm recording or not. This is the 1111 card. This is the twin flame card for me. This is about reunion and union and divine kind of connections and soulmates and past lives and unions and all of that stuff that twin flames represent. And the Devil card is also a very karmic card and could be like this, like you see the Lovers, it's the dark side of the Lovers. It keeps coming out. This collective may have some like issues with obsession and being tied to someone, try cord cutting. It doesn't get rid of that. I can still feel my person, but I don't have the same obtrusive, like I can like literally like I start smoking when he quits, or I know when something really bad is happening and I feel like it's happening to me. I just am like, it's more like watching a movie, like, oh, there's something bad happening on the screen. Do you know what I mean? Cut the cords. I know someone really good. If anyone needs it, I can't do it myself, but I do know someone who managed to do it. But you have to really want to do it yourself or it won't work. But there is something here that's addictive and obsessive and like kind of consuming, and it just needs to be brought back into balance. But I see you have the chance for great happiness, and you need to just have some time out and have a break, meditate. Maybe you're a very fast-paced lifestyle somehow, this group. Maybe you're like workaholics. That's just coming through. It's not really in the cards. Yeah, that's everything for group 2. Let's just sever any energetic cords temporarily in place. Sending group 2 a lot of love and light and peace and happiness and remembering. I want them to remember themselves, remember each other, remember why we're here. Sending you all a lot of love. Thank you so much for everyone who sat through my lots of channeled messages. I hope this channel is helpful and useful for people. Let me know the kind of stuff you want to see. I'm going to do some tarot readings, some pick a card readings. I'm going to do, definitely the next thing I'm going to do, well, or something I'm going to do soon, is this full moon care package of like spells, release work, tarot reading, all sorts of stuff. And I do also want to talk about other things like astral travel and trying out herbs and all this stuff. So if you have anything you want to hear about or anything, you don't have to say it publicly. Most of you have my details. If not, like, get me on Etsy and send me a message there perhaps. I mean, depending how busy I am, I might not reply, but I'll definitely look at it. And then if people are asking for stuff and I resonate with it, I'll definitely do it on the channel, and I'll do as much as I can. But I am busy at the moment. But thank you all so much. It's such a joy to share this whole crazy experience with you guys. So sending you all the best. Take care.